All right, so today we need to talk a little bit about some things that we want to see in college football 27. Now, I've seen other people make lists and talk about their Instagram channels and what their fans want to see and this, that, and the other. Well, I'm a fan, and these are some things that I want to see in college football 27. Now, EA constantly wants to say that they want college football to be a sandbox game. Well, then we need to talk about some of the things that will allow the game to be a sandbox game, which means customization. And I have compiled a list of about 15 or so items. First thing is allow users to delete coaches. Now, what I mean by that is the coach profiles in the trophy room. I don't need 32 coaches in my trophy room that I only created to test out something. Let me delete the coaches that are no longer relevant to what I'm trying to do. I don't know why they didn't allow us to do that in the last game, but they didn't. Number 2, more control over conference schedules. What I mean by this is we still have to play conference games. We still have to play a certain number of conference games, but let me control what teams I play and when I play them. For instance, let's say that I'm playing the Oklahoma Sooners and I don't want to play Texas at the second week of October. Say I want to put that game at the last week of the season on rivalry weekend. Let me do that. Or let's say I'm playing Kansas State and the schedule says I have to play Baylor. Let's say I don't want to play Baylor. Let's say I want to play Cincinnati. Let me swap those two out. I'm not saying to give us full control of the schedule where we don't play any conference games. We still have to play conference games, but let me choose who I play and when I play them. Let's say it's got my team scheduled to play a conference game the second week of the season. Maybe I don't want to play the second week of the season. Say I want to keep the first 4 weeks for non-con games. Give me that option. Because and I know it says it in the settings that you don't start playing conference schedules until week 4 or whatever. The game doesn't recognize that. All too often, I see it where I set it for week 4 or wherever, and it still gives me a conference game in week 2 or even week 1. So let me choose where my schedule lands. Give me the option to manually set my conference games. The third item on the list, extra teams in Dynasty to allow for team builder. What I mean by that is extra team slots. So instead of having to replace a current team in the game, let me add 2. So give us an extra, say, 10 to 15 team slots to put team builder teams in addition to what's there instead of in lieu of. So I want to add teams to it instead of take teams away from it, or instead of replace teams. If we're going to replace teams, allow me to replace the FCS directional schools like the FCS Southeast, the FCS Northwest. Allow me to replace that with a team builder team. The fourth thing on the list is neutral sites in Play Now other than Bowls and CFP Championship. I've noticed that when you play a game in Play Now, you can't change the field. It's automatically set to the team's home field unless you play a bowl game. Let me pick a neutral site game. Maybe I want to play on the SEC Championship stage. Maybe I want to play in a complete neutral site. Let's say I want to pit Maryland against Purdue, but I want to play it in the Big House. Let me do that. Give me that option. The next thing on the list is change player appearance after year 1 in offline dynasty. Now there's a couple of different things here. First is the jersey numbers. Even the locked players, let me change their jersey number after the first year, because we all know that players change their numbers from year to year. Not all players, but a lot of them do. I'll give you an example. Deion Burks in 2024 for the Sooners, for the Oklahoma Sooners, he wore jersey number 6. But then when he came back and played the 2025 season, he changed his jersey number to number 4. Allow me to do that in the game for the locked players as well as the unlocked players. After the first year, don't do it the first year. The first year, leave it alone. Yes, lock them up. But after that first year, set everything to unlock so that we have more control over the player appearances. Also, some players will change their hair from year 1 to year 2. Allow me to do that. Allow us to do that as well, to change some of their appearance, hairstyle, jersey numbers, some of the equipment they wear, like their helmets. They may change their helmets. I'll give you another example on that. Danny Stutzman in 2022 and 23, he wore a helmet that did not have the top piece of the faceplate of the face mask. If you all noticed that, he had just the face mask, but no top bar across the top of the helmet. And then in 24, he changed that and he started wearing the regular face mask. Let us do that in the game as well. Let us change their equipment for the locked players as well as the unlocked players. Next item would be playoff and tournament mode. Give us a mode where we can play just the playoffs, or we choose the teams in the playoffs and we play just the playoffs, or an actual tournament mode where we can choose up to 16 teams and play just in a tournament. And, offline, just or friends or whatever, but give us that option where we play just the playoffs instead of having to play the whole 12-game schedule and then hope we make the playoffs or rig the game somehow. Let us play just through the playoffs, just that part of it. The next thing I have is stadium renovations after year 1. Or after they win a conference championship. A CFP championship. Let us renovate the stadium. Let us do a little bit of stadium. And I saw other people talk about this in their videos about a stadium builder. Yes. Let us do some renovations. Let us add a different stadium after year 1. Leave it alone for the first year, but after year 1 or after they win a championship, we have the option to renovate the stadium, put different logos on there, put different levels. Say and if nothing else, you could say we take Kennesaw State Stadium and we replace it with Alabama Stadium, but it has Kennesaw State's logos around the stadium. I think that would be neat too. Next item that is on my wish list goes back to scheduling. Allow us to play up to 13 games with zero bye weeks, or allow us to lower the schedule down to 10 games with 3 bye weeks. And also, don't make week 15 an automatic bye week. Let us play games in that week. If we make it to a conference championship game, then yes, it locks up. But for the conferences or for the teams that don't have a championship game, let us play. Let's play an extra game. Next item. No, not the next item for bids. I know that comes to everybody's mind. Next item on the list, more conference alignment options. Allow 0-team conferences. Also allow conference rename and rebrand. To elaborate, what I mean is, let me bring back the old Southwest Conference with its brand name. Let us import logos and brands into into the game to make different conferences. Say I want to build the Big Sky or the old Southwest or the old Big Eight. Let me do that. Also, allow me to empty out a conference, the Pac-12 or the Big Ten or whatever. Allow me to empty the conference completely, not just take it down to a base four teams or whatever. No, allow me to completely empty that conference out. EA talks about wanting college football to be a sandbox game. These are all items, these are all ideas that would go further into making it an actual sandbox game where you could fully customize your own game the way you want it. The next thing, I've already covered the FCS directional schools. Road to Glory, player spotlight, and presentations in Dynasty. Let us bring all the things that they're doing in Road to Glory, like the player spotlight whenever the player runs onto the field and it looks like there's a drone following the player onto the field and you can look up and you can look left and look right and look around. Let us do that in Dynasty, and we get to pick a different player each week to spotlight. In week 1, we want to spotlight the quarterback. In week 2, we want to spotlight the running back, but whatever. And then all the camera shots that are in Road to Glory, bring those over into Dynasty as well. I've noticed specifically with Oklahoma, because that's my preferred team is the Oklahoma Sooners. In Dynasty, there are camera shots of the Sooner Schooner, of the players hitting the Oklahoma banner as they run out under it, and of them touching the sign. But in Road to Glory, there's actually an overhead shot of the players running through the band. Why isn't that in Dynasty? Bring that over into Dynasty. That's what I mean by the presentation from Road to Glory into Dynasty. Give us those options. Next thing is that users choose weekly in-game times in Dynasty. What I mean by that? In Play Now, you can choose a noon, a 3:30, a 6, or an 8 o'clock kick. In Dynasty, give us those options to choose what time we play the game. If I'm playing in week 13 and it's a big game and the game has it set for a noon kickoff, give me the option to switch that to a night game. That's what I want. I want the option to be able to pick night games. Maybe I want to play all my games at night all season. Allow me to do that. Instead of the game randomize it. Now, you can also have the randomizer in there where the game chooses, but allow me to manually choose that as well if I want to. Update the fields and end zones. What I mean by that is there are some teams, namely OU, because I know OU does it, but I'm sure there's other teams that do it as well, that use 2 different end zones for their conference and non-conference games. In the case of Oklahoma, the end zone is red lettering on a plain grass field for the conference or for non-con games, and then when they start playing conference games, then they paint the end zone red and they paint the Oklahoma letters white. That needs to be included. That's part of the presentation. That's part of something that needs to be in the game. And maybe check and see if other schools do this as well. The next thing would be the celebration mapping. Allow us to choose what button maps correspond with what celebrations when the celebrations are done. Instead of the gritty being R1 and up or whatever it is, I don't know what it is, let us choose to make it just the up. Or let us choose to make it the R2 and up so we know what celebrations do what, instead of having to switch back to the options menu and see what it is every time we want to do something. We will set it to where we know what it is without it being a crapshoot, a guessing game. Next thing is the previous records and coach contracts. Currently, the previous record for the school only goes back, I think, 20 years. And then once you sign the coach and once you get to that first extension, then the coaching contract only goes back 3 to 5 years. Let us see the entire history. If you're going to start it at 20 years, let us see the whole 20-year history, no matter what point of dynasty we're in. If I'm 20 years into my dynasty, then let me see that 40-year history going all the way back to the initial 20 years that we saw. Now, in NCAA 14, there was an entire school history. I mean, it went all the way back to 1945. I don't know if that is still possible, but it would be something that a lot of casual players would enjoy. The next thing is users can play other games without taking control of the team. In Dynasty, if you want to play a game on the schedule that is not your team, you have to go in and create that team, or take full control of that team. Maybe I don't want to take full control of that team because that's going to create a head coach. It's going to put in my trophy room. That's going to be something else to clog up my trophy room, which was the first thing I mentioned on the list, is useless coaches in the trophy room. If I want to play, let's say that I'm playing in week 10 and my team is Purdue. And I happen to look at the schedule and I see that Oklahoma is playing Tennessee that week, and I want to play that game as well, but I don't want to take control of either team. Allow me to play just that game without taking full control of the team and creating a useless head coach. The last thing on my wish list is putting scores and stats on the scoreboards in the stadium. Instead of it being just some looping weird graphic like the Baylor Bears, the interlocking BUs scrolling across the screen, or the OU whatever it is that they do, or Texas or whatever. Put the stats up on the scoreboard. It doesn't even have to be the live game stats or real stats. Just a graphic. Just a graphic that shows OU and their team, or UCF and the other team, or whoever, and the score updates. Other than that, and just put some random stats in there that just looks good on the scoreboard instead of the looping video package that plays on them. Because honestly, that's not there all the time. The scoreboard is there. And then Team Builder, of course, everybody is going to always complain about Team Builder, that it needs to be upgraded and updated, and you need more uniform options, more stadium options, more field options, more crowd options, more equipment options, and ability to do this and do that. Of course, I have not used Team Builder that much anymore because I wasn't happy with everything that was there and the way it was done. So, of course, yes, Team Builder needs to be streamlined and made better. Unfortunately, because of my limited experience with Team Builder, there's not a whole lot that I can offer as to what needs to be upgraded. I will leave that to other content creators and people who make videos. Because I make videos, but I really can't call myself a content creator because I don't make enough of those videos to do anything. But this was a list of what I would like to see in the game, and hopefully, by some freak accident of nature, somebody will see this video and they will forward it to the EA developers, and maybe, just maybe, we can get a few of these things included in the College Football 27 game.